Billy loved his room. It was his safe space, a place where he could be himself. He knew where everything was: his bed, his toys, his favorite books. Everything had its place. Except there was one thing that was different about his room. Something that didn't quite fit. One thing that didn't belong. It was a mystery to him. It was just a wall before. A plain, boring wall that he never paid much attention to. Billy liked the wall that way. It was simple and unchanging. It made him feel safe. But not anymore. Something had changed. Now there was something strange about the wall. It seemed to hum, a low, eerie sound. A low, quiet hum that sent shivers down Billy's spine. It was unsettling. He tried to ignore it. He tried to pretend it wasn't there. He tried to pretend he didn't hear it. But it was impossible to ignore. But the humming grew louder each day. It was becoming unbearable. One day, Billy noticed something else. Something even more alarming. A crack appeared on the wall. It was small at first. Right where the humming was the loudest, the noise seemed to come from within. The crack was thin and jagged. It looked unnatural, almost like a mouth opening and closing. It was as if the wall was alive. Billy's heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing louder in the silence of the room. He stared at the crack. It was getting bigger, spreading like a spider's web across the wall. He could hear a faint scratching sound coming from behind it, like nails on a chalkboard. Like something was trying to get out, clawing its way through the barrier. Suddenly, the wall burst open with a loud crack, sending shards of plaster and dust into the air. Billy jumped back in fear, his eyes wide with shock. Dust and debris filled the air, making it hard to see or breathe. When the dust settled, Billy could see what was behind the wall. It was a door, hidden and ancient. A big, heavy, wooden door that looked like it hadn't been opened in years. It had strange symbols carved into it, symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light, symbols that Billy had never seen before, not in any book or story. The door was slightly open, and a cold draft seeped out, chilling Billy to the bone. Billy's curiosity warred with his fear. Each step forward a battle against his instincts. Slowly, he approached the door, his heart racing faster with each step. He reached out a trembling hand and pushed it open a little more, the creak of the hinges echoing in the silence. A musty smell wafted from the doorway. It smelled old, like something forgotten. Billy peeked inside. The room was dark, but he could hear something. Whispers. Faint whispers coming from the shadows. Billy couldn't make out what they were saying, but they sent chills down his spine. He felt a cold hand grip his heart. Every day the whispers grew louder, and every day the door changed. Sometimes the symbols glowed. Other times the door seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting like a living thing. Section 4. Trapped. Billy was too scared to tell anyone about the door. He knew they wouldn't believe him. So he kept it a secret. But the door was always there at the back of his mind, whispering to him. One day, Billy woke up in the middle of the night. He felt a cold draft on his face. He turned over and saw that the door was wide open. The whispers were louder than ever, beckoning him closer. Billy tried to get out of bed, but he couldn't move. It was like something was holding him down. He was trapped. Section 5. Face to face. He looked towards the door. A figure stood in the doorway. It was tall and thin, shrouded in shadows, but Billy could see its face. It was him. The figure smiled. It was a cruel, twisted smile that sent shivers down Billy's spine. Billy wanted to scream, but he couldn't make a sound. "Hello, Billy," the figure whispered. Its voice was raspy, like dry leaves crunching underfoot. "We've been waiting for you." The figure stepped closer, and Billy could see its eyes. They glowed with an eerie, unnatural light. Section 6. More doors, more victims. Billy squeezed his eyes shut, willing himself to wake up. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest, each beat echoing in the silence of the room. When he opened his eyes, the figure was gone. The room seemed emptier than before, as if the shadows had swallowed the figure whole. The door was still there, but it was closed. It stood ominously, as if daring him to approach. Billy jumped out of bed and ran to the door. His feet barely touched the ground as he moved, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity. He threw it open and looked inside. The room was empty, completely devoid of life, as if it had never been occupied. There was no sign of the figure, no sign of the whispers. Only silence. A heavy, oppressive silence that seemed to press down on him. But Billy knew the truth. He could feel it in his bones, a deep, unsettling certainty. The door was a portal, a gateway to another realm, one that was filled with darkness and danger. A portal to somewhere else, somewhere dark and dangerous, a place where nightmares came to life. He also knew he wasn't the only one. There were others, trapped just like him, each facing their own doors. He had seen the way the door looked at him like it was hungry for more victims. It was a predator, and he was its prey. And Billy knew that, as long as the door remained open, the danger would never end. It would never be satisfied. It would always be searching, always be hungry, always be waiting for its next victim.